What's going on? Today I'm going to be showing you guys literally how easy it is to get optimized, okay? So people are complicating their health so much, but it's literally as easy as staying focused on these three pillars. You have fitness, nutrition, and recovery. So first, with hybrid fitness, you got to figure out how to weaponize the human body. And so for example, this year, for me, I'm chasing three main goals: 405 bench, 100-mile ultramarathon, and a 5-minute mile. And if we break these down, 405 bench is going to come down to strength and power, and then obviously some muscular endurance on the side to keep the muscles activated. The 100-mile ultramarathon is going to come down to long duration endurance, and then the 5-minute mile is going to come down to the anaerobic capacity. So how much effort you can exert in a period of 1 to 5-ish minutes, right? So this is what my training schedule looks like now. Sundays are my long run days. Mondays I rest, get some work done. Tuesdays heavy bench volume. Wednesdays interval runs. Thursdays upper body hypertrophy and power, and then Fridays lower body hypertrophy and power, and then Saturdays more bench. So my strength training is kind of around the small of junior bench day. So if you're looking to increase your bench, this is a good program to follow. You have 4 days per week, and this is actually what took me from 335 to 365, 365 to 385, and then finally 385 to 405. And it's just a crazy intense amount of volume. Make sure if you're doing this program, you're doing equally as much external rotation as you're doing internal rotation, so you're not getting injured and you're just staying healthy throughout the course of the program. But essentially it goes 6x6 on Monday, 7x5 on Wednesday, 8x4 on Friday, and then 10 sets of 3 reps on Saturday. And week 1, you start at 70% of your 1 rep max, so be very conservative. If your 1 rep max is, for example, 200 pounds, 70% is going to be 140 pounds, right? And I would even say, like, if your actual 1 rep max is 225, then just go with 20 to 30 pounds less, because it's so much intensive volume. If it's your first time going through with it, it's going to be really, really intense. So this is kind of the similar structure I'm following for bench. I'm only doing 3 of these high volume days, so I'm doing like a 6x5, 7x5, 8x4, or a 10x3, kind of deciding. And then for my long duration endurance, I have Sunday long run days. And what that looks like is essentially, last week I did a 21K, and then on the 10th of January I did a 6K. So then on this coming Sunday, I'm going down, called tapering. I'm doing a 12K, and I'm doing a 7K on the 17th, and just keep building up that volume. So then a week after that Sunday I'm doing a 17. A week after that Sunday I'm doing a 25K. A week after that I'm doing a taper for 12. So 3 weeks building, and then the 4th week is kind of tapering. And on the 11th, I'm going to do a full marathon just to kind of get my gears going again and slowly building that volume. And here's a little bit of a kind of some marathons I've done before. Just, really slow, really easy. A lot of it's just going to come down to how well you know your body and how well you can keep up with that intensity throughout the course of however many hours it takes you to finish. So nutrition, this is the second pillar. This is why it's so easy. As long as you can dial in fitness, nutrition, which is what we're going to cover now, and then eventually recovery, which we'll cover in a second, you're dialed, you're set. It's that easy. It's really not that hard. So understanding nutrition is that recognizing there's no one-size-fits-all diet, but individualized nutrition based on genetics, lifestyle, and health needs is what you need. So food is fuel, and dopamine and emotions should not be involved when deciding what to eat, right? I follow the farm approach, which essentially is kind of like ancestral diet, knowing exactly what our ancestors ate and what nature intended, and just kind of going off that. And so here's some daily nutrition staples. I'll do organic lemons for immunity, organic berries for antioxidants, grass-fed organic meat for all my vitamins and minerals, pasture-raised eggs for all my B vitamins, organic avocado for my monounsaturated fats, grass-fed kefir for my probiotics, and then a dark glass bottle of olive oil for my polyphenols. And just like more, meats and fruits and nuts and just like things that are natural, organic. This is fuel. This is what's going to carry you through, especially on like if you're trying to build muscle, on bigger run days. You need fuel. Your body is a machine. It's an absolutely high performing, high functioning machine that needs the best fuel, and if you're not feeding it right, you're not going to perform right. So my diet is mostly whole-based foods. Whatever our ancestors ate before all this processed shit people call food came to an existence. And as long as I'm hitting my body weight in grams of protein consumed, and I have 3 square meals per day, I'm set, which is prepared for me anyways by our housekeeper chef that comes in. And finally, hydration. So water quality, you want to be cautious of toxins in your tap water. This includes chlorine, fluoride, PFAs, heavy metals, and then other things in plastic that are endocrine disruptors like BPAs, BPEs, phthalates. And this is just stuff that kind of mimics testosterone and estrogen. And so if you're drinking a lot of things with plastic, like plastic water bottles, especially in the heat where it leaches into the water, it's just not good for you overall. And my supplements is very specific here. I wouldn't really even recommend this to one individual person. I would recommend first getting tested and seeing what your goals are. But just like some essentials for my brain, I do lion's mane. Other essentials are omega-3s, vitamin D3, as long as it's binded with K2, a B complex, black seed oil, and then some performance enhancers include glycine, creatine, matcha, lysine, magnesium, and so on. Finally, the final pillar, this is where it all comes together, recovery. If you're not recovering as hard as you're training, shit just won't click for you, right? You're gonna get injured, you're not gonna feel great, you're fatigued, you wanna stay in bed all day. You need to be recovering equally as hard as you train. And so the number one thing I do is mobility and deep tissue work, especially in the mornings. It can get tricky, but you have to learn what your body's asking for through, I do mind body analysis through meditation and just kind of like closing your eyes, breathing, getting very still, seeing, like analyzing every part of your body. Where is it tight? Where do you have tension? And after that, I have a bank of mobility routines that I've kind of stored in my brain over the years. And then I just work on releasing tightness either with the roller, or if you have a massage gun, it's really good for kind of warming the blood up or warming the muscles up, more blood flow for some myofascial release. And it's important to understand the concept of prehab versus rehab. So like being proactive with your mobility and deep tissue work instead of being reactive if you have an injury, for example, because you're neglecting it, right? And so every single one of your warm-ups that you do before a workout, you want to kind of mimic that movement. So if you're doing squats, you want to mimic squat movements. If you're doing run, you want to do leg swings and opening the gates, closing the gates. That's like hip movements, ensuring the joints and muscles are prepared, and also understanding that individual mobility needs vary. So you should be custom tailoring your mobility protocols based on your individual needs. So finally, or almost finally, embracing the cold. So benefits of cold: if you have a cold plunge, get in there at least a couple times a week. If you can't, try to get in the cold shower, whatever it may be. You want to embrace it as much as possible because the benefits include brown fat increase, which is cold temperature resilience. You have a norepinephrine and dopamine release, which is great for your mind. Super anti-inflammatory. It boosts your immune function, and not to mention the best of all, it increases your discipline, because if you can get in the cold and be uncomfortable for a certain period of time, you're just that much more set for the rest of the day.
Put people into deliberate cold up to the neck for 11 minutes total per week. So not one session.
11 minutes total. That's all you need. Sauna, that's another one. Psychological benefits of sauna include detoxification, muscle recovery, skin health, anti-inflammatory benefits, immune booster. It associates with longevity and neurological health. All of these reasons just kind of compound into one thing. It's amazing to do. Highly recommend this as well, daily, or at least try to get 60 minutes total per week, whether that's like 4 times of 15 minutes or 3 times of 20 minutes, you decide. And finally, sleep, the number one most important thing: memory and learning, emotional regulation, immunity, metabolism. These are all the things that helps you with. It's just crazy. If you're not sleeping, if your sleep isn't dialed, you don't have, like, for example, taping your mouth, if you're not getting oxygenation, if your room isn't blacked out or a certain temperature, or just like you're sleeping in a wrong way, like these are all things you should be optimizing so that your sleep is super dialed in. And from there, you just have the best position to kind of keep growing and keep being optimized. Here's a perfect sleep routine that I like to do. It's 10-3-2-1-0 rule. And you guys can kind of read this, and then some supplements you can do to boost sleep, magnesium, as well as a sleep environment to maintain so that you're optimizing it as efficiently as possible. So bring it all together. By keeping these 3 pillars at the forefront of my mind and staying absolutely laser focused, I'm able to get shit done that many think is completely unachievable to themselves. I've climbed Everest elevation gain in 1 day. I've done an Ironman twice. I have run a couple marathons in a month, broken a couple records. I was #1 lifter in Canada for a little bit. So questions to ask yourself: do I want to be average my whole life, or am I ready to tap into my true potential? And if that's you, if you're ready to go, click the link in my bio. You'll see just a quick call link. And if you're curious on how to get optimized, we'll have a quick chat and just kind of go from there.